go ahead and get started. I know everybody has a busy schedule, and I want to thank everyone for coming out here. You know, we deem this as being an extremely important part of what we're trying to do in the Bledsoe and Sequatchie area. You know, we're here to, I guess, celebrate a loan that we were awarded by the USDA, and so we've got a few little things, and we have a lot of people here that I would like to introduce. Of course, first of all, we have a lot of employees that have come down and made all of this possible because of putting all this together, the mic and all this. So there's a lot of work goes into this and putting the food together. We also have our board of directors. Some of our board of directors are here that have voted and made all this come true also. But we also have some, our government field rep, Mr. James Wilson. He is with the USDA. We have Mr. Lavoy Knowles with TTA. We have Miss Shirley Pond. She is the field rep from Scott Desjardins' office. We have State Senator Miss Janice Bowling. We also have State Representative Ron Travis in the back there. And we also have Sequatchie County Executive Keith Cartwright. We have Dunlap City Mayor Dwayne Land. We also have Pikeville City Mayor Winky Cagle, or Philip Cagle. Yeah, Winky.
I don't answer, Philip.
Okay, thank you, Philip. We also have Bledsoe County Mayor Greg Ridley. And we also have with the Dunlap Chamber Director Janice Kaiser. And we have several, I know, county commissioners and city aldermen. We want to thank you all for coming. First, what we want to do is we want to show a video that we have put together, and it's been something that we've done internally ourselves to kind of lay out the pathwork of what we plan on doing and what we have done over the past few years. So go ahead, Matt.
This is Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative's 804 square mile service area, which covers all of Bledsoe and Sequatchie counties and portions of Van Buren, Cumberland, and Hamilton counties. The dots on the map are our 146 central office locations connected via fiber optics, which is the foundation of our existing network. Our network currently allows all members to choose broadband internet services with unlimited data usage and download speeds up to 10 megabits, leaving none of our members considered unserved with broadband services, as it is currently defined as not having services available that allow 4 megabits per second download and 1 megabit per second upload. The highlighted areas of the map represent completed fiber-ready projects. From the Fiber Foundation, we are currently building what is known as the Last Mile, Fiber to the Home, which connects every member with an individual fiber connection, allowing them to choose the broadband services with unlimited data usage and speeds up to 1 gigabit per second for their home or business. In 2008, Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative began designing and building all new service areas as Fiber to the Home. A hybrid network design proved to be the most cost-efficient for the last phases of the network foundation in the most sparsely populated areas. Connecting our most remote members with an individual fiber connection during this phase of the network upgrade is why some of our most rural areas became fiber-ready before our towns, which is shown with these highlighted areas. Other fiber-to-the-home areas highlighted here have been built to meet business needs for our customers who signed up for broadband services with unlimited data usage and speeds of 100 megabit and 1 gigabit per second to conduct business from their homes. Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative is here to serve the members. Our current projects in Pikeville and Dunlap have the distribution fiber already in place in all of Pikeville and a large portion of Dunlap. setting for timely installs as members in these areas sign up for faster broadband packages now. Our most ambitious fiber to the home project, outlined in orange, is currently underway in Dunlap. A complete cutover, which connects every customer on an individual fiber connection as the distribution fiber is being placed. Better broadband and video services can then be added, often with just a call to the office. Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative, building the best network in the world, right here in the Sequatchie Valley.
Basically, what you're going to see is, you know, throughout our entire existence, it has been a partnership that has been established through with the RUS and or the USDA, which was I don't know how many times it's been changed name-wise, but you know, even in our conception, you know, it started out. In April of 1953, we were created through an REA loan that provided telephone service, you know, into the rural areas, which actually started up in Bledsoe County. And then, of course, you know, going through our chain of everything that has happened, in 1986, we received another REA loan to install fiber optics that reach from our Dunlap office to our Pikeville office that connected those two offices together. To run the information between those. And in 1995, we started providing internet throughout our entire service area. In the early 20s, the bandwidth requirements exceeded everything that was going, you know, at the technology there. So we began deploying DSL, which was run over a copper line. That, you know, helped us to exceed in the speeds that was needed for that time. Of course, around 2006, we had to get another RUS loan, which deployed fiber optic cable to the remote offices. And in one of those, in the video, you saw all those little red dots. Those are offices that are out in our service area. These dots are connected by fiber. So we have fiber that has ran deep inside our network right now. We are at the position that we are trying to do what is called the last mile of doing the fiber optic cable. We have set nodes out where our bandwidth is generally, or our loop limits are about 10,000 feet from each one. Each customer doesn't exceed over 10,000 feet from one of those nodes. So we're at the process now of building the last mile. Of course, you're going to find out that is probably the most expensive end of it. In 2006, when we started all this, pushing those remotes out, it helped us to get every one of our customers to at least 10-1. When I say 10-1, that is 10 meg down and 1 meg up. So each and every one of our customers now have the capability of having those speeds. And of course, as we all know, as things goes on, that speed is really starting to become a relic. Of course, we had our fiber network and remote office provide a foundation for the future deployment of a fiber. As I just said, this one of the biggest things was pushing our fiber and our nodes deeper into the network. 2008, like I said, we're not new at this either. In 2008, we actually designed our first fiber to the home build out. We have a rural area. It's in the 881 exchange. You can see on the map the yellow highlighted area up to the north there. We determined at that point any new build, it was more efficient and more effective to build fiber to the home instead of building copper. So that was a new subdivision that at that point we decided was the best thing to do, so we designed it with fiber to the home. 2010 was the year of the stimulus money. We were awarded $5,091,000, which was in the BUILD project, which was a 70% grant, 30% loan. With that, we deployed some fiber in the 533 area, and there was a little bit in the 554 exchange in that map over there. In those areas, which those are some of the most rural areas that we have, there again, it was one of those areas, it was just more cost effective to run fiber than it was to put copper back into the place and to create the bandwidth that is needed. So 2014, we began to design and construct of Active E fiber to the home networks. You know, it's in high demand in our areas. In doing all this, we looked and evaluated what all we needed to do, and we looked at certain areas of where the growth was in places where we needed the fiber. Of course, we all know that everywhere's needing fiber. Of course, your most dense areas where you want to start first. It's where the largest population is. So we started alone in 2015. It has taken a while to get this accomplished. We are just now, you know, that's what we're here for today, and completed, you know, we have actually got it completed. We have been awarded the money. In 2016, we completed the fiber to the home network in the city of Pikeville. That was outside of the loan. But we have done a lot of work while waiting on the loan. We have not just sat and waited on it to continue to do any work. The yellow areas down south of the bordered exchange there in orange are areas that we have also continued to work outside of the loan design to build fiber there. One of the biggest problems is inside that loan design, we couldn't touch it until everything was done. But now, as I said, we have come to the point in the road where all of this has taken place. So the biggest thing about our loan design is the orange outlined area is going to be a full cutover. There's going to be everyone inside that area will be, when the fiber is built, will be cut over to the fiber optics. The highlighted yellow areas, we have fiber that is there. Now, it's not been a full cutover in those areas. The fiber is, they are capable of getting it, but we have just not, we're waiting on people to come in, put orders in, the ones that are needing it. In the loan design area, about over half of the money that is going into the loan is going to be for the cutover. There's a large amount of money that goes toward the cutover of cutting everyone to the fiber optics. So getting along the whole lines of all this, that is one of the reasons we're here today, is that we wanted to kind of celebrate with our loan coming in, and we have invited some here, so we kind of wanted to get Mr. James Wilson up here with USDA and, you know, kind of have a word or two talking about some of the things that we have done and what we're talking about doing with this, and talk about our loan design. And through some of this, let me get to this point here, and I almost forgot about it, and I'm kind of skipping around, but you looking at this map, one of the biggest things and one of the most important things looking at that is you're going to look at all those highlighted areas and the bordered areas in orange. That constitutes about 33% of our customer base. Now, if you look at the service area, that is only 9% of our service area. So, you know, we have a large job ahead of us to cover in these rural areas, and that is our entire goal. It is not just to end in those shaded areas. Our entire goal is, you know, in the near future, all of that is going to be yellow, and it will be all fiber to the home. And you know, we're going to build you one of the best networks that we have. So you know, that's capable of being built. So a lot of what we have done is not just been putting fiber up. We have spent our U.S. money on this loan through interim financing to strengthen our core network. We have installed a core router in the Pikeville office, whereas we have one already in the Dunlap office, which builds in redundancy. We have spent our own money in adding generators to each of these offices whenever the power goes out, that You know, the office will continue. We actually have 2 generators. If one of the generators quit, we've got another to back it up. So we're trying to build in redundancy in everything that we have. Our rings that we have out there, which connect all of those little dots, used to be set up on 1 gig rings, which now we have upgraded them to 10 gig rings, which allows for all the bandwidth that is needed to be used. So we're building one of the best networks that we can. And it will be second to none whenever we have it completed. You know, the internal networks are as is now. I mean, they are second to none now. So we are continuing to work, but I'd like for Mr. James Wilson to come up here and say a little bit, but you know, he's a big instrument into what we have done here. We have worked on this for, what, a year and a half, and Mr. Wilson came in kind of at the tail end of it. We have actually, our GFR that started with us couldn't be here today, but he's retired. So James is coming in, and he's kind of come in the tail end of it, but we're extremely tickled with James. He's been extremely helpful, and we hope to continue to work with the relationship with them throughout this whole process.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words. On behalf of the Rural Utility Service and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I would like to thank Bledsoe Telephone and the city and community of Dunlap for the invitation to be here and say a few words. This is a great time for the community, and U.S. Department of Agriculture is very happy to share in this time. Thanks to Bledsoe Telephone's management and staff, this area will receive fiber connectivity that will rival the largest metropolitan areas as far as broadband service available. Our U.S. is happy to assist in this endeavor. Our partnership is stated with Bledsoe Telephone, started back in 1953, and it's been a long and very fruitful partnership over the years. When we started this partnership, you had wall-hung, hand-craned telephones. We went through the rotary dial era, single-party line era, and now we're going to fiber to the home. U.S. Department of Agriculture and the telecommunications program, which I work for, has invested over $300 million in Tennessee since 2010. These investments being made by Bledsoe Telephone today in this region will have a tremendous impact on the community and the lives in this area. It will stimulate economic advancement within this region by giving existing and potential companies access to the advanced telecommunication services that they need to prosper and grow in this market space. It will also allow the students increase access to the internet for completing homework, for researching college opportunities, and yes, of course, Netflix, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. This is an exciting time for Dunlap and Bledsoe. And again, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is very pleased to be a part of this. Thank you all for your time.
You know, one of the most important things is that we received the money to do this, but, you know, as I had mentioned, that we are not just going to work on that area. We have several areas that we have a plan that we are attacking that is outside of the loan design. Over the past, since 2014, we've already spent $3 million in the network ourselves. So we're planning on continuing doing that so that we can get all this completed in a timely manner. You know, so that's one of the things we want to be, we're proud of, that we have worked hard to get all this accomplished. And we're going to continue to work until, like I said, every bit of that is highlighted in yellow. Well, there's some that are here today that I think I'd like for them to say some things. We had talked to Mr. James Wilson. Mr. LeBoy knows is with the TTA. I'd like to know if he could come up and say a word or two about what we've done and some of the things that's going on and about some of the things that's going on around.
Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today, and thank you for asking me to be here today. This is a great time for Sequatchie Valley and Bledsoe County and Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative. Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative is at the forefront of technology. They have been for a long time. And as you know, broadband is a necessity in the rural areas, not only in the rural areas, but everywhere. We keep hearing about the bandwidth needs. This is going to keep rising. I know Senator Bolin can attest to the fact that 10-1, 25-3, whatever the number is going to keep increasing as the years go on. And a good example of that is what you need even at your home. You mentioned Snapchat and all those social medias and Facebook and all that, but you got Netflix. And I think Netflix now is about 30% of the total network usage in some areas, maybe 50% in some areas. That's phenomenal. And that's all the big deal about net neutrality on the national level. Well, it doesn't mean anything for our members, customers here in the members of the Tennessee Telecommunications Association. We're not going to block, we're not going to throttle, we're not going to slow down, and you can go wherever you want to go when you get on the internet. We're actually the interstates, and we're the on-ramp and the off-ramp versus telling you where to go. So that's up to you about that. So if anybody has any questions about net neutrality, there's no concerns from a rural perspective. So I want you to know that too. But as you get more bandwidth needs in your house, I know I just got Alexa this past Christmas from my wife. I know some of you may have Google Home. That all takes bandwidth. And on top of that, your smart homes. You keep hearing about refrigerators going to tell what you're going to. You can order your food from the grocery store from the refrigerator. That takes bandwidth. Every one of those items in your home requires an IP address, and I'm way above my information level when I say that. But I do know that an IP address requires a lot of bandwidth. The more IP addresses you require, the more bandwidth it requires. And I know we've all heard about smart vehicles, driverless automobiles. I think Tennessee last year had a bill, I'm not sure where it passed or not, that allowed Uber and Lyft to it was Toyota and General Motors to test vehicles this year that were going to have no drivers. Well, how do you think the car communicates with the system? It's got to have bandwidth. It's got to have IP addresses. So the more and more bandwidth we need, the more and more features and new products we have. You can go to Best Buy today, and almost everything you buy in Best Buy is going to require an IP address. If you get a camera and you want to download pictures to the internet, you've got to have a connection to get to that device. So everything is going to require bandwidth, and the more we rely on technology, the more bandwidth it's going to take. And I am so excited to see Charlie and Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative making the step to give you the first level of that bandwidth. I mean, you're already at the first level. You're already at the 10-1. That's the entry level point. It's going to get bigger as we go for the next few years. It's going to be phenomenal. It's an exciting time to be in telecommunications, and it's an exciting time to work in the local cooperatives because the Tennessee Economic Community Development Commission about 2 years ago did a study, and only 11% of the state does not have 25.3 capacity. But when you stratify that, break it down where it occurs at, 34% does not have that level of internet in the rural markets. Charlie's making one of these first phenomenal steps to bring this needed bandwidth to your area, and I think this is to be commended for both he and the management team and the board of directors. Take it a little bit further, I represent 21 of the small telephone companies and cooperatives throughout Tennessee. They have committed over the next 3 years to invest either through loans, through equity, through their own funds, over $250 million in the rural markets to bring internet to the rural residents of Tennessee. That's phenomenal. That's a huge step, and it's folks like Charlie and Rufus and some of the other folks here that make the decisions about where you put your money into. The people in the rural companies in Tennessee are putting every dime they can rake and scrape into broadband. that we're all reinventing ourselves. We're not a telephone company anymore. We're a broadband company. And we're going to prove that to you in the days to come. Charlie, congratulations.
You know, to touch a little bit more on what LaVoy said, you know, looking at our network, you hear the levels of bandwidth that they set forth. The network that we are building is, I call it future-proof. It's one of these, it's an active E, and you can do your research, it's a long explanation. It's an active E network, but it is future-proof. The limit on the bandwidth on it is only going to be compared to what the electronics can do. So, you know, we also have Shirley Pond. She is the field rep from Scott Desjardins' office. And,
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank BTC for allowing my office to be represented here today. I know this is a great day for you all, and this presentation by USDA is going to really help this area move forward. Unfortunately, the congressman couldn't join us today because they're still in Washington, as you probably know, fighting the battle that we fight every day. But he asked me to relay this to you all. It says, Tennesseans in Dunlap and across our rural district deserve the same chance to succeed as every American. Easy internet access is a key component to their certain success. With the proper tools, students, teachers, healthcare professionals, manufacturers, entrepreneurs will benefit from BTC's fiber optic project, encouraging communication and commerce. On the House Ag Committee, rural broadband and wireless infrastructure is a major focus of mine, and I was proud to stand with the President Trump last week in Nashville, where he signed executive orders to expand opportunities. This, again, is a great day for you all. And anytime anybody needs anything from the congressman, please feel free to give us a call, stop by one of our offices. And I'd like to also recognize Janice Boland as being the charge in Nashville last year. If you all will give her a round of applause, because she went way above. Thank you and good luck if you ever need us. Thank you.
oh, you should have just come on up. We have State Senator Janice Boland.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate that. Now, I'm going to limit myself to no more than 45 minutes in talking about high-speed broadband in rural Tennessee. But no, thank you very much for inviting me here, and thank you all for being pioneers in rural Tennessee to get the gigabit service. And what people, light switches still fascinate me, so I'm not a tech, but I thank God for all of you who do understand how to get the pictures and the sounds and the voice and everything over that light. But I do want to remind you that God said, "Let there be light." And it was so. So he was on to something. He knew what light could do and what light could mean to all of us through the years. And now, in the internet capacity and in the broadband capacity, let me just tell you how I understand the difference between what you had with 10 megs down and 1 meg up, and what you're going to get with the gigabit service, and the symmetrical of how many can they get, as little as they want, but as much as they need. In the broadband, because as Charlie said, it is future-proof. And there are places right now where people are saying, oh, 10 megs down and 1 meg up, that's enough. Actually, when it first started in the 1900s, maybe that was okay. Maybe that had adequate capacity. But this ain't your grandpa's farm, this ain't your grandpa's manufacturing, this ain't your grandpa's medicine, education, everything now needs capacity in the internet. And the only way to provide that wide open road of information that can go is to get us off a pig trail, which would be 10 megs down and 1 meg up. So we don't want to try to drive a Lamborghini on a pig trail. We've got to get that wide band. And what the difference is, if for a while DSL, oh, hey, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Well, in capacity, DSL is about like a drinking straw. And then they says, oh boy, coaxial, we got the copper now, we got the coaxial. Well, in capacity, that's about like a water hose, a garden hose. Fiber, when God said let there be light, he wasn't fooling. Fiber has the capacity of a fire hose on steroids. And they have found out something that really defies physics. If you bundle it, it's almost infinite capacity. And I talked with a physicist from Boston who does a magazine on fiber. And he said, oh, we don't understand it. It's like somebody sprinkled pixie dust. But when you bundle that light and you send it out, you can carry everything with no diminution of the capacity and the resolution and whatever else. So you have future-proofed this valley. Now let me tell you one other thing though, and I could talk about it all day. It's such a blessing to have this come into Bledsoe and into Squatchy and in all the areas, part of Van Buren, because in Nashville now, the ratio used to be 60% rural in representation and 40% in the urban areas. Well, the last census changed a lot, because if you haven't heard, Nashville's growing 100 people a day. And if we're not careful, it'll be the cancer that eats Tennessee. But that's another story for another time. But what's happening right now, there are 95 counties in Tennessee. There are 33 senators. Each one of us has a district of about 200,000 people. I have 7 counties. But let me tell you, there are 13 of us in Nashville that represent 82 political subdivisions, 82 counties out of the 95, 13 of us. 20 of the senators represent 13 counties. If that doesn't scare you, it's because you weren't listening to me. That is absolutely something that we're going to have to contend with. It won't get better unless we get more fiber in rural Tennessee. And then we can earn back our representation in Nashville, because in those urban areas, the legacy providers, the giant corporations, are still trying to tell everybody DSL and coaxial, hey, that's all you need. Or we're coming up with this new 5G. Well, 5G is great, except you've got to have tall buildings in very densely populated areas. You can't have any trees. Probably that's not going to work in most of Tennessee. So what we've got to do, as we're relying on people like the telephone co-ops and some of the municipalities like down in Chattanooga, we've got to get fiber into the homes of our rural area, and then our children and our grandchildren will be able to stay where they want to stay. They won't have to move to those urban areas to get a good job or have access to medicine or get a better education or whatever. We're going to have better than Nashville, Knoxville, and Memphis have, because we're going to have fiber, and they're still struggling with data caps and tremendous cost and DSL and coaxial, the drinking straw and the garden hose. So I commend y'all and thank you for what you're bringing to rural Tennessee, and I hope and pray that as we start to grow again and not lose our children and grandchildren to the more urban areas, the only thing we'll have to need for someone to do at that point is to build a wall around rural Tennessee, because we don't want too many of those folks from the urban areas coming in and messing up what we've got here. And I want to say something here. Miss Boynton is here with us today. And just think, in 1937, when the Rural Electrification Act was passed, you were there. You knew. And you knew Tennessee before we had electricity and the difference that electricity made. And now, when we have fiber, that will be the electricity of the 20th century, the fiber of the 21st. Thank you again, and I really appreciate the work that you all are doing for and with rural Tennessee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Ron Travis, State Representative.
Well, it is good to see that we have the first day of spring outside. It's really enjoyable over here. You know, I want to take this time right here that I think that we need to give BTC a hand in what they've done. I mean, it's amazing. When I was here in 2012, Jeff Mackey saw me at the courthouse when I was running for state representative. And his first thing was, he says, we need fiber optic. We need it in our city. We need it in our rural towns. And I looked at him, and I didn't say this, but I thought it in my heart. I said, we'll both be dead before that ever happens, pal. Because I didn't see it happening. But now we look at this, what they've done, and if you look up aggressive in the dictionary, you'll see these guys. You'll see BTC, because they are aggressive in what they're doing. And, you know, it's just exciting times. I can go home tonight and I can watch Netflix. I can do that. In the rural town, I can do that. But there's so many people that can't do that. And we need to make that work in the state of Tennessee. And I know we're all committed in doing this, and I know these guys are. And Charlie and the staff, man, you've done an unbelievable job. And I appreciate what you did for the state of Tennessee. It's good to see everybody. And thank you, and have a good weekend.
We have County Mayor Keith Cartwright.
Everyone knows I'll be brief. Janice, for someone that doesn't know anything about fiber, I learned something because I've been eating it for years and it works. So I learned something about the light piece of it. No, I want to say congratulations to Bledsoe Telephone. They had a plan a year and a half ago. A lot of us doubted that. We heard a lot of skepticism out there. And you guys have delivered. You know, TEAM is an acronym, T-E-A-M, for Together Everyone Achieves More. And you guys have proved that. And I want to congratulate you. And then on behalf of the County Commission, that's their sentiment as well. So thank you.
City Mayor, Dunlap City Mayor Dwayne Lee.
Well, I know Matt's glad this day's here. Everybody don't know him, right there he is, and he changed his phone number on account of me. So I want to first thank you guys because the people was telling us elected officials what they needed, okay? I don't know if your phone was ringing off like ours was or not, but our phone rang off the wall every day about these millennials especially, okay? My children and a lot of y'all's children and grandchildren, they wanted fiber. Well, I'm worse than the rest of them. I thought fiber was something you did eat, but you know, I didn't realize it, but down at the restaurant, we needed it. We were losing hundreds of dollars, well, one day over $1,000 in credit card, and I'm calling Matt at home, and I said, Matt, I got problems. I said, I'm having to go down here at midnight. I had to wait to 12:01 to enter it, and here I am entering all these credit cards. What can you do for me? Now this is was it about 2 years ago, Matt? Right at it, wasn't it? He said, I'm gonna stick something in there and we're gonna see if it'll work. I have not had to mess with those credit cards one time. So I for one, I got to experience it. I got to experience it a little early, and I appreciate that. But you know, you guys listen to the elected officials, and I really appreciate that because we were listening to our constituents, and they were telling us what we needed. And Mr. Bourne, he told them up front, don't take my calls. So, but Matt got a lot of it, and Ethan, where'd Ethan go? You can't see him. There he is. Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate these guys, and I want to thank our state legislators and our people on the Hill, because you wouldn't believe what it took to get that to this point. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I know what you did. You put the rest of us mayors to work, because now we got no excuse to bring technology people in here. We will. Thank you.
We have Bledsoe County Mayor Greg Greeley.
I don't know if I can follow that. But it is an honor to be here. Congratulations to each one of you, for the board members of Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative staff. Thank you for looking out for us. I want to talk a little bit about when Becky and I first became Bledsoe Telephone Co-op members. That was 25 years ago now. Remember the dial-up? I can still hear the tone in my head. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We go into when I became county mayor and I'm in meetings in other counties just bordering us that people couldn't get coverage. They were really on their state reps hard. You know, we got to get coverage. We got to get rural coverage. And I'm thinking, we've got it in Bledsoe and Sequatchie County already, and that was such a blessing for us. So as we start recruiting companies in, that's never been a hurdle. If we had a workforce hurdle, that we'd get over that. We never had to worry about our internet service. And with the new company that's coming to Bledsoe right now, they were ready, had it there before they actually got the building purchased. So we're very appreciative that y'all help us do our job much better. Wish you the best of luck, and we are looking for many years of progress in the future. Thank you for allowing me to be Bledsoe County Mayor. Thank you.
Pikeville City Mayor Winky Cagle.
Yeah, right that time. Oh, I don't have to say how proud I am of the telephone cooperative working up there. You know, for the last couple of years, we've been watching them do all these fiber optics and things, and I tell you, it excited me tremendously. Miss Janice, I agree with you. You know, I didn't know how little I knew about how this stuff works till last Friday. We went on a tour of the equipment up there, and I tell you, it's mind-boggling. I'll tell you, I didn't know my son-in-law was that smart, but to know how to operate some of this stuff, I'll have to tell my daughter to lay off a little bit. You know, I'm very excited what it's bringing to our valley, and I think that's probably one of the things that really enticed their company that we're getting in Pikeville there now. I think one of the first things they asked was how many gigs could they get there, and they told me whatever they wanted, they could get it, and they kind of nipped that right off the bat. You know, not only what they're contributing to our valley for is recruiting industry and bringing in people, like Miss Janice says, and with our children, the way they operate today, you know, I watch my granddaughters work their phones and their computers and their laptops, and you know, one of the things that we're looking at up there is maybe a computer bank, place for the kids to go and do their homework and studies. And I know some of the guys from Janice and them, we talked about this last Friday, and I'm trying to cut this short. But that's something that we really need for our kids. You know, kids that's being able to go out, and they can study it in school, but when they go out home, they don't have this capability. And that's something that excites me, is when it pertains to our kids. But you know, for what the telephone cooperative contributes to this valley is just beyond belief. Not only for us what they're bringing in technology, but what they've done for us jobs and our tax base and all these things. And I don't want to get into that stuff, but this is a tremendous amount of money that this cooperative puts into our tax base yearly and into our city tax base. It's one of the things I think we forget about sometimes, what they're contributing other than you know, bringing all their modern conveniences to us. But I'm excited about what they're doing, and I'm trying to cut this short, and I'm very proud of them. I don't think you have to doubt that for what they do for us. But most of all, I'm excited about what's going to come in the future, you know, of our valley and the city of Dunlap and Dwayne and Keith. They're doing a great job here at Sequatchie County. I don't know what you people feel about them down here, but I'll tell you, I serve on committees and stuff with them, and I watch them work real hard. And they're really, you know, everybody in the valley, we try to work together and get along. And Shirley, thank you for what you and Congressman do. But anyway, thanks for having me here, Charlie. And we're very proud of our cooperative in the city of Pikeville, and we'll continue to support them in every way we can.
We have Miss Janice Kaiser. She's with the Dunlap Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Well, I can't tell you how excited I am to be the new chamber director under the leadership of the board with Winston Pickett. The first call that I made, my first day of work, was to Bledsoe County Telephone Cooperative, and I spoke to Ethan. I said, what can we do for you? Because there's lots of things I want you to do for the citizens of Sequatchie County. And he said, well, let's talk. So he came down. So one of the things for the chamber members is going to happen is Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative is going to do infomercials. We will come to your business and they're going to film you. Ethan, show them your face so they know who you are. They will video you at your business. They will edit it out, run it on channel 18. They'll also do 3 to 5 minute Facebook videos that you can run. They'll put them on Facebook. We'll share them through the chamber. Then I complained to Russ. I said, you know, our website, I can't have access to it. I need access so we can add businesses, we can add events. And Russ said, don't worry. And Charlie looked at Charlie, and Charlie said, make this happen. So for the people of Sequatchie County, you're going to have a website that is all about you, thanks to Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative. It will be your voice. We will highlight you. I can't say enough. Again, my first call was to Ethan. He was there the next day. So
I would have came that day, but my water was frozen.
exactly, that's what he said. He said, I come today, but I've got to deal with it. We're without cold water. But I congratulate you. I thank you for what you're doing, because we are going to move forward together. Thank you.
You know, I just would like to close by saying, I mean, really, we sit and talk about everything, and, you know, we are dedicated to you all. And that is what we exist for. That is why we are here. So we are going to listen, and we're going to do, you know, to the best of our ability, everything that you need and everything that you want out of this network and out of us. You know, and I can sit up here all day and you see my face and you see Ethan's on Facebook, but there's a lot that goes behind the scene. And I wish the board of directors and the employees from Bledsoe Telephone would stand up. They have done an excellent job. You know, they are dedicated and they are passionate about their job. I mean, it's kind of funny in a way, but it can get kind of scary sometimes. You know, they take their job serious. They are passionate about everything they do. So when you call in with a complaint and all that, I mean, they're extremely passionate trying to fix the problem, and they're going to. If you have any problem, if you have a desire, if there's anything you need, we're going to do our very best. We want to thank you all for coming out here and being with us. And there's some cupcakes over there, and we have some peanuts and some refreshments and punch over here. So thank you all for being here, and enjoy the cupcakes and peanuts and punch. Thank you.